Alright, hey folks, welcome to the culmination of the whole Q&A extravaganza for my 2,000 subscriber special. And I definitely got a lot of questions for me to answer. I don't know how long it's going to take me to answer all of these, so, well, you'll know because you have the video length down there, but I'm going to get comfortable. I didn't even count how many questions I have, so I'm just going to go in reverse chronological order, and explore each question as little or as much as I want to explore it. And hopefully this will come out with a pretty good special of sorts. So let's do this. The True Graham asks, how many doors are there in your home? And oh, good lord, now I want to go, I haven't read most of these questions in advance, just, now I want to go, and walk around my house and count how many doors I have, but that would be distracting, so I'm just going to briefly count in my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 6 on top floor, 7 front door, 8 back door, 9, 10 side doors, 11 bathroom door, 12 garden door, 13 I probably have miscounted already, another bathroom, and then 3 in the basement, so that's 16, and then a garage door. I think that's all of them. And I realize this, on a similar check, I just want to point out that, yes, there are in fact stairs in my house. I figured that would be a good thing to know. I'm the Mimic asks, what's your major? I am currently a prospective English major. I haven't officially declared yet because I don't technically have enough college credits to declare yet. You need a certain minimum number at my college to declare, and I just haven't spent enough time at college yet. I don't get to until the end of my spring semester here. But potential English major, and I don't see that changing. I was considering maybe Spanish briefly, but I'm neither confident enough in my Spanish-speaking abilities, nor comfortable enough eating large amounts of beans to actually invest a lot of time in Spanish culture and other things of that sort. I took a few Spanish Lit courses in my freshman year, and those were pretty difficult, not for the literature part, but for the understanding the Spanish part. So that's why I'm going for English. I enjoyed the literature part, so that's good. Billip1998 with a bunch of X's around his name asks, would you consider playing any of the Earthbound or Mother games on your channel? Earthbound/Mother, those are games that everyone says are great, and I believe them, but believe it or not, I'm not a huge fan of turn-based RPGs for the most part, and my attempts to play Earthbound and Mother 3 have not ended in thrilling love for the games. They're creative, I'm sure they're very well characterized throughout the game, I understand there are a lot of really emotional, powerful moments in there, but it's, I don't know, I just never got hooked with them the same way that I have a lot of other games. And this is a game series that has like new age retro hippies and some of the best music in gaming, there are a lot of objectively good things about these games. I just have never gotten into them. And I generally do not do videos of games that I have very little passion for one way or the other. And Earthbound unfortunately falls under that category. Those are games that I should play for my gaming education someday, but it's currently not on my plan. And Billip also asks, did you emulate 3D Land and or Heart Gold vs. Crystal? If not, how did you record them? So, for 3D Land, this is actually noted in the description of the video at the very bottom of the description. Those are recorded by ntom64, not by me. He's the one with the 3DS capture device. I'll be getting one of those eventually, but I don't currently have one now. He recorded those straight from a 3DS with an actual capture device. I didn't do it, but that's how he did it. And I think I do still link to the capture device information in the description of those videos. So that's how you'd go about doing that. I think the kits, or sending the 3DS off to the guy to have him do it, costs about $250 right now. Or you can buy pre-installed for like $400, but that's pretty expensive. And that's a similar tactic if you're doing a regular DS capture device. For Heart Gold vs. Crystal, I actually started recording for those playthroughs before I got my hands on a DS capture device. So, although I do currently have a physical DS that can record output from it, and that's what I did for my Black 2 Blind stream, I didn't do that for Heart Gold. The file was started on my computer and had to be finished on my computer, even though even though I got the DS capture device midway through that playthrough. And Crystal, I didn't have my GameCube player. I don't actually own a copy of Crystal. I only have Gold, and the battery's dead there. So that was emulator. I am trying to switch as much as possible to recording from legit sources, whether it's with an HD PVR on my consoles, or the custom output device for the handhelds. Currently, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, we got a lot of people on this next, or a lot of questions for this one. MitchKid251 asks a number of questions. First off, what's your favorite dinosaur? And I think I would have to say the plesiosaur. I certainly hope I'm remembering the name of that one right. The one that is totally the Loch Ness Monster. Loch Ness Monster being a dinosaur that somehow has not died in the past 65 million years, or whatever era the plesiosaur lived in. Second would definitely be the Parasaurolophus, which is why it's still sort of a running joke on my Twitch, I think, my Facebook. I'll have the Parasaurolophus avatar from that one video I made so long ago. I dislike the Parasaurolophus just slightly because it's not still alive, although it does live on in our hearts. So the plesiosaur gets that slightly. If you were a Pokemon gym leader, MitchKid continues, what type would you specialize in? What Pokemon would you have, and why? Those are always like big complex questions that I would probably have to think through a lot to come up with like a perfect team, and exactly what I want, etc. But I would probably go for Steel type. I would have an Aggron, a Steelix. I don't think I would have a Magnezone. There are a bunch of cool... Mawile, definitely. Steel is definitely my favorite type, so I would go for a Steel type gym leader. Skarmory, maybe? I don't know. Come up with a list of Steel types, cross off the ones that look stupid. That means that's Clank is not on there. I don't like him. What is your favorite Deoxys form, and why? MitchKid continues. I would have to go for Speed. I have never... Actually, I don't know if I've never, but I don't have a whole lot of experience with Deoxys forms in actual gameplay. So it basically goes only on design. Defense looks stupid, honestly. Attack and normal don't really look too different. I like the streamlined look of Speed. But Deoxys is one of those kind of complicated designs that I'm not super fond of, but it does have a cool kind of Evangelion thing going on, which I like a lot. But yeah, Speed. I was getting sidetracked. Speed, definitely. If you lived in the Avatar universe, what kind of bender would you be, and why? That would be Avatar: The Last Airbender / Legend of Korra, and not space alien blue people Call of the Wild. That's the wrong reference, isn't it? Yes, whatever. Not James Cameronverse, but I think bending-wise, I think I really like earthbending as a philosophy, and that's why I would stick with it. It's for those not as familiar with the bending verse as I am. I love the stand strong, be rigid, hold your ground, endure things. Maybe just because I'm a Taurus and I'm stubborn, but I like that calm, keep things together kind of feel that the earthbending comes with. And I definitely see the merits and the advantages of basically every other bending philosophy except for fire, because fuck fire. But I think earth kind of corresponds with how I like to do things most of all, and that's how things would go. Also, you like almost always have earth to work with, so that's convenient. What are some of your favorite and least favorite movies? I don't really keep track of my least favorite movies. Generally, there are very few movies that I absolutely just did not care for at all. And the one that comes to mind probably would get stones thrown at me, but I really did not care for No Country for Old Men. It had this kind of stagnating effect on my stomach, I guess. Made me feel empty inside, which I guess some people could interpret as emotionally moving and devastating, but I just found it like... So yeah, didn't really care for that one. Favorite movies, I'm constantly switching out the order, but Up, definitely. Back to the Future Part 1, definitely. And The Truman Show, I definitely, I think those would be my top 3. I don't know what order they would be in, but those are really good for various different reasons. Up, of course, because of the first 10 minutes. Back to the Future, I just think is very clever all the way through. And on a scale of a whole trilogy, I like what they did. They kept it very clever all throughout, but the plot structure of the first one stands on its own, and, you know, it's less stupid. It's silly, but it's not stupid. I do like all 3 films, but number 1 is definitely by far the best. And then The Truman Show, it's like one of Jim Carrey's few dramatic roles, and he does a really good job. I wish he would do more serious roles, because he can actually do them, but yeah. And it's just a cool thought experiment. It's a cool concept for a setting. And it's neat. It's very neat. I don't know how they got Jim Carrey to sign on board, honestly, because it's way smarter than his average film. I mean, that was the time when he was doing, like, The Mask and Liar Liar and other silly movies like that. So, I've never seen either of those movies, just so you know. But he's done a lot of silly things. This is still Mitch Kid, by the way. If you could be friends with one historical figure and one fictional character, who would they be and why? Oh, gosh. There are a lot of historical figures out there. That kind of blindsided me. I have no idea. But I need to come up with an answer of some sort. So let's just say... God, no, Plato was a jerk. I hate him. Socrates was also kind of a jerk. God, no, Cicero. Cicero. Ancient Roman politician Cicero. I don't know how good of a friend he would be, but God, he's such a smart guy. He's like my favorite historical figure, I think. So in the absence of a better option that comes to mind right now, I would definitely say Cicero for a historical figure. Fictional character, gosh, oh geez, oh gosh, oh geez. See, my favorite fictional characters to see on screen are the ones who are emotionally troubled and honestly would not be very fun to be around in real life. Because I love seeing people's lives break down on camera. That's the best way to put it. So... I don't know, I've been watching a lot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer recently, and most of those people seem like they would be pretty cool people in real life, at least Xander would be. So, gosh. I would, again, in the absence of something that comes to mind, and so we can keep this thing rolling, I'm gonna say Xander, just because he's cool. Once he gets his life kind of Once he's on top of things, he's cool. If you could have a pet from a movie, book, or game, what would it be and why? I don't generally keep track of people's pets in fictional works. I could say I want a Pokemon as a pet, although that would probably be a hassle. There's the cat from the Hunger Games, but that's kind of grouchy. If I could get on its good side, I would like it as a pet. But I have my own cat already, so I don't think I need one of those. Oh, I could have the furry thing that I don't remember the name of from Madoka. That would be the best pet ever, right? Right? Yeah. Or maybe the Kung Fu or whatever martial art panda thing from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Again, if I could get on its good side, I think that would be a cool pet to have. And let's just throw those options out there and not choose any one of them. Would you rather have the power to move at super speed or slow down time so that at normal speed it would be like you were moving at super speed? Gosh, there are a lot of intricacies that I would have to think through. I think, just taking those at face value, I would rather be able to slow down time, because that would allow me greater precision in what I'm doing. Whereas if I were to move super quickly, one, I could knock people over by accident, I could miss something, I could crash into a wall if I weren't careful. Whereas slowing down time, yes, it would feel like it to me that I was doing something slower, but it would be at a normal rate, and I would get things done in the same actual amount of time. And I wouldn't accidentally run into a wall, most likely, although I have done that before at normal speed. If I were, I have no reason to vibrate my molecule so quickly that I can phase through doors, like the Flash. And also, it's just, I don't know, it seems like more creative power to be able to slow down time. Especially gives me more time to just think. If I would just be able to move quickly, great, that doesn't give me any more time to think and figure out problems. If I could slow down time, I would be able to finish exams in a much better amount of time. That is my only reason why I would ever do such a thing, clearly. You know, it'd be to cheat on exams. Anyway, that wraps up the Mitch Kid questions. We're now on to our fifth asking person. Azazar1 asks, in most of your videos you're rather knowledgeable about the game you're playing. Is this because you go through research/practices, or just from memory? Generally, it can be anything. A lot of games, especially games that I did early on in my career, were games that I really grew up with and am pretty darn familiar with just from various things. Like playing it for 10 years, I got pretty darn good at the original Pokemon games, pretty darn familiar with Oracle of Seasons, and I just didn't really need to research a whole lot for those, especially in solo runs where I'm mostly talking about a single Pokemon or just going off on a tangent. But for other games, for example, Dragon Quest Swords, I had played through it before, but I had to do the research to figure out what these names come from. I would have to do the research into character designs, and there were things that, as a not casual Dragon Quest player, someone who really is only experienced with the series, with that game, I had to do research to come up with a lot of things I'm saying. And as I expand into more games that I'm less familiar with, I will look things up. As I get into the 5th generation of Pokemon games, where I'm less familiar with the route, the region, the Pokemon, their stats, their movesets, new moves, I'll have to look things up on Bulbapedia, or maybe just the fact that that resource exists has caused my brain to not retain information as well, which I'm sure is an actual scientific phenomenon. Maybe. But really, there are a lot of games that I've played for a long time, and just a lot of things that I haven't played for a long time. Like Black 2 Blind Stream. I didn't do much research for that, and you see how that turned out. But yeah. What I'm saying is that anything goes. Generally, more research means I know what I'm talking about better, and when I don't do my research, and I know I should, usually it ends rather poorly. So, I should do more research even on top of what I'm doing now. And then Azazar1 also asks, no, he just says thanks. Thank you. And I'm going to drink water. Okay. Witchcraft98 asks, if you could take all your subscribers on vacation anywhere in the world, and we'd all have a big party and it would be awesome, where would it be and why? Gosh, I myself am not one for gigantic parties. I'm not one for fancy do's. So I generally don't think about where I would want to go for a vacation, and I don't know, I'm being the uncreative Seattleite that I am. Go somewhere tropical, Hawaii maybe, pack a lot of sunscreen, have a luau, eat a lot of food. Somewhere warm for sure, I would say. Just because that's a different kind of experience for me. I don't go off and do such things. And I would like to do them regardless of the company. So, I don't really care what you guys think. I just want to go to Hawaii. But yeah, I would say Hawaii or some other tropical place. Probably Hawaii because it's still in the U.S. and I don't have to worry so much about being attacked by voodoo tribesmen. But they still have those, right? Those are still things. But yeah, let's go with Hawaii. The Ancient Regime asks, if you could read people's minds at will, how would you use it, if at all? Now, the thing about people's minds is that they're very private. And as much as I sometimes want to learn about people's lives and their feelings, which is my therapist mother rubbing off on me, I would like to think that I would respect people's privacy and I would avoid reading people's minds as much as possible. If I were directly asking them a question and, like, I couldn't tell if they were messing with me or not, I might, like, read their minds. But it's a private thing, and people should only need to reveal that information if they feel comfortable with it. Sometimes I'll push them so they feel more comfortable with it, but ultimately I value the voluntary quality of that act. It's not quite the most creative or comic book answer that you might have been looking for. So instead, I would get 2400s on my SATs by somehow reading the minds of the proctors who have the test memorized. Even though I don't need to take the SATs anymore. Sonic Mario 777 asks, ever heard of the Touhou Project games? If so, any opinions on them? From my understanding, the Touhou games are bullet hell games. They're top-down shooters where there are bullets everywhere, and it's just as hard to avoid all the bullets as it is to actually kill enemies. And games that require that much skill are not really my cup of tea. I generally prefer slower-paced, less stressful games. I know that my friend Lyko got into bullet hell shooters during high school a little bit, and even, like, the easiest of the easy that he played then kind of freaked me out, and I was like, I could never play these, and I think the Touhou games fall under that category. They might also have a plot or something. I understand they're series with characters. I don't know what they are. They're anime schoolgirls or something, which I have had my fair share of, but I can't really speak to the merits of the story or anything. So, just gonna say that they're not my kind of games, and I have not delved into that realm any further. We got another big batch. King Bowser 13 has 5 questions for us. How long do you think you will continue to do commentated walkthroughs? I don't really know. Because I know, especially at my college, where the workload gets rather intense in later years, I may just simply not physically have enough time to reasonably record and commentate these things. Especially in my senior year, I'll be writing my thesis, and that devours the lives of most normal people. So I don't know if I, as an extraordinary gentleman, would have the physical prowess to actually, be able to physically do that. But I want to continue as long as there are games that I'm interested in doing walkthroughs and playthroughs or whatevers on. And sometimes it feels like that well is dry, and sometimes I have so many games that I want to play, I just don't know what to do with myself. It'll end someday, I can guarantee. But in an ideal world, you'd be able to find me somewhere else, on the radio, on TV, in a podcast, I don't know. But I like hearing myself talk, and I like having other people hear me talk. So, maybe I won't exist in this mortal form, but I will transcend to a higher realm of existence, and you'll be able to catch me in some other way. I don't know. We'll see. What do you prefer, a game with decent gameplay and near-perfect graphics, or a game with near-perfect gameplay and less appealing graphics? As someone who grew up with a Game Boy and an N64, I'm pretty forgiving of shoddy graphics. Generally, I can get by. I can ignore how a game looks. Generally. So I prefer the gameplay more. That said, I don't have a whole lot of experience with HD games, HD consoles. Despite having a gaming quality PC, I don't play nearly enough PC games to get me into that vibe. So I'm still at the point where I look at a typical AAA game nowadays, and I look and it's like, dang, that's a pretty game. I want to play that pretty game because it's pretty. That was my reaction to the recent Spider-Man tie-in game, and it's a movie tie-in game. It can't be very good. But I was like, yeah, that's pretty. I want to play that pretty game, so I'm still shallow in that regard. But as a longtime Nintendo gamer, and since with their recent trend of not really pushing graphical capabilities, I would go for gameplay over graphics to bring up the old 2006 Wii debate over the PS3, you know. Have you ever traveled to any foreign countries? I've gone to Canada. Yeah, I've gone to Whistler, which is, I don't know, 100 miles? 150 miles, I don't know. North of Seattle. I've gone to Vancouver, too. Vancouver, Canada. So, not really. Canada barely counts as a foreign country in my book. Maybe if you're from Texas, it matters a little bit more. But I haven't gone and seen the world. I haven't seen the Highlands of Scotland. I've gone to Hawaii. That's sort of foreign, just because it's so different from Seattle. It feels like another world out there. But Canada, that's about it. Canada's cool, at least the part of Canada I've been to. I don't know about Quebec. I've heard things about Quebec. Can't really speak for it. but that's about it. How well can you see without your glasses? Pretty poorly. Let me get something to read. Just demonstration. I'm going to see how long it takes for me to be able to read words on a page here, and if you're interested, this is about the size of the type. Highland was just a few minutes away from the small apartment where Alan, Brenda, and their baby living in American Fork. We're living in American Fork, yeah. But like, this about here is where things start to go into focus for reading. So not very well. I've been dependent on glasses for a long time, and my eyesight has gotten steadily worse. Although I think it's dropped off a little bit less recently. But yeah, not very well. I cannot see very well with my glasses. I could probably make it through the day if I didn't have to read any signs or anything. But yeah, no, not well at all. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, you see, I believe dinosaurs existed and dinosaurs laid eggs, so the concept of an egg has existed long before the concept of a chicken. That's about it. If you believe in evolution, the egg came first. That's how it works. And I personally believe in evolution, so yeah. And that concludes King Bowser 13's questions. The Shadow of Zero asks, how do you think your recent commentary compares to your commentary from 5 or so years ago? Do you think it's more or less energetic, more or less informative? Have the goals of your commentaries changed? Well, if you go back to my original Starly run, you'll find that I don't talk about the game very often. I remember I would specifically try to go on tangents, I would call them tangents, and find other things to talk about, because even back then I sort of subconsciously realized that there isn't that much you can say about fighting a bunch of Geodudes and fighting the same Pokemon with a bunch of different trainers over and over and over. So I think the style has definitely changed, yes. I am much more on topic nowadays. I talk about the game, and if there's something that there's no good way to talk about, especially in a Pokemon game, I will minimize the time spent on it or just cut it out entirely. Back then, I had this philosophy, especially since I was doing a challenge run, I have to show everything or else other people will think that I'm cheating. So I showed everything, sped it up like quadruple times, and talked about other things. And as much as I enjoy talking about other things that aren't the game, that I've definitely don't... I talk about the game nowadays, generally. Occasionally, if I'm doing co-commentary, the things will stray. If I'm doing co-commentary with Colin or Lyco, we've talked about Hey Arnold, or stories of computer theft. But I try to be the informative source, and I try to be critical, not necessarily negative, but I try to be critical of the game that I'm playing, and kind of look at how the game itself is designed and what they're trying to accomplish with something at a given point in the game. And that's how I will often fill space where there is otherwise little to talk about. So I would like to think that I'm being more informative and I'm being more critical. Your mileage may vary, you might have a different opinion on what you're looking for in my commentary, and if you do have something that you look for in my commentary, please let me know, because I'm here to entertain you, and if I'm not entertaining you, I'm not doing my job. That's the direction that I try to take as much as possible. How do you think No More Heroes 2 is compared to the first game? Also asked Shadow of Zero. No More Heroes 2, I like the gameplay more. I feel like there's a lot more weight behind the attacks. There's a lot more variety. Things that are boring and extraneous, like money grinding, are cut out. The map system is nice. Plot-wise, I feel like it was... Well, the No More Heroes games, you can't really tell what's intentional and what's not. I felt like No More Heroes 2 was trying way too hard to be serious and dark and gritty, and lost a lot of its playful charm from the original game. But that could very easily be Suda51 doing a meta-commentary on games that try to be dark and edgy in their sequels and abandon the fun-living humor of the original games. Like, I don't know, the Jak and Daxter series? I never played those games, but that's my impression from seeing the box art. But whatever his intention was, the end result was that I was less engrossed in the story there. Despite a lot of really genuinely creative moments and cool things. Not a bad game by any means, and probably more fun to play. But story-wise, I think the original is better. Then, Corruptor555. Again, a large batch of questions here. Have you ever had a girlfriend? How many? If you have one now, does she approve of your consistent Pokemon gameplay? So, no, I've been a bachelor my entire life. I am a bachelor now. I do not have a significant other of any gender. I am open about the fact that I play Pokemon. I'm at college, and college is a great revival of Pokemon enthusiasm. Where in high school it was less acceptable, it becomes acceptable again in college. So I'm open about the fact that I play Pokemon. I say that as if it's like some sort of social taboo. There are people in my dorm who also play Pokemon, and I talk about Pokemon with them. There's a guy who plays competitively, and although I don't play competitively, I'm interested in what's going on in the competitive world, and whether or not Swellow is up to OU again, because it should be. Got a little derailed. I'm a bachelor. I've never... Yeah. I'm a huge loser who has never had a sexual encounter. What was your first Pokemon game? What is your favorite and why? My first Pokemon game was Blue. Got it for Christmas, I want to say 98. I believe 98, yeah. I played it on the Game Boy Color. My brother got Red. It was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And it started a relationship to last a lifetime. Or at least 19 years and counting. And the favorite Pokemon and Pokemon game, Pokemon region question is something that I'm pretty sure will crop up a lot in this special. So, I may as well just lay it down here. I don't know. I really like a lot of the Pokemon games for a lot of different reasons. Like, if I'm just gonna pick up a Pokemon game to replay through real quickly on an emulator, I'll probably pick Crystal. If I want a Nostalgia Blast, I'll play, like, probably Yellow. I love what Black and White did for plot in the series, and I hope they continue that trend. I really can't pick a favorite mainline Pokemon game. But to put all that beside me, Pokemon Snap is my favorite Pokemon game. It's a really, really good game. I want a sequel. It's a really good game. Do you play any sports or watch any? What's your favorite team/player? He can see me playing hockey and beating the crap out of someone with my stick. Well, while I am very experienced in the art of stick beating, the only real sport I've done, or sports, I guess, cross-country and track, running, if you want to put it under one category. I guess I played soccer in elementary school, but that was never really my thing. I'm a runner. I've run since 6th grade, and have gotten marginally decent at it. It's nice. Watching wise, generally, I only have the patience to watch. This is ironic. I only have the patience to watch football, American football, with the plays and the pauses and nothing really happening for half the time. Just because I don't know. I can see what's going on for one thing. With like every other game, the ball's too freaking small on the TV. You can't really see what's going on. Football, you can take a pause, look at the movements of the players. Part of it is just because I read the manga Eyeshield 21, got familiar with the game, and now I can sort of follow it when I watch it on TV. I understand the positions, the rules, and it feels more tactical, maybe just because I understand it more, and I can think about it more as I'm watching. So, being a football fan, of course, I root for my home team. I root for the University of Washington Huskies. I will root for the Washington State University Cougars in basically any game other than the game they play against the Huskies every year. Because, I mean, they're still Washingtonians. I want them to win. I want my home state to do well. And then also the Seattle Seahawks, our NFL team, who are actually doing pretty alright as of this recording. They have a game tomorrow that they could probably lose, and then I'll be eating my socks. But I want them to win. They're the home team. So yeah, go all those teams that I just mentioned. Do you know what a lesbian dinosaur is called? There's a pun in here somewhere, but I feel... I'm only good at telling puns. I can't think of any. God. I'm Googling it. I'm Googling it. You can't stop me. Lesbian dinosaur. Oh my. That's obscene, and you should be ashamed of yourself. But it's... You know, I probably wouldn't have thought of that, because it's not necessarily tied with dinosaur. It could very easily be a lesbian platypus. And platypi are a lot cooler than most dinosaurs. I would place it third on my list of dinosaurs if it were a dinosaur. What career are you looking into? I'm looking into being an English teacher, as ill-fated as that probably is, because teachers are not paid very well and nobody appreciates them, and we're all going to die. But that's what I want to do. I had a great experience at high school, and learned about, like, teachers who love their job, basically, and I saw I could see myself in the same position. So, if I could land myself a good job at a good place, then I would love to be an English teacher. But it really depends on the crop of students, too. If you get to a bad school, or just bad class even, a bad age demographic, it can be a lot less fun. But we'll see where the path takes me. Still got a few years to figure it out. And what is my religion? I generally don't really like the idea of organized religion, group religion. I totally believe in spirituality and believes in a higher power and things like that. But I feel like one's relationship with that higher power is something so personal that no building, no church, no mosque, no temple should be mediating that. It shouldn't be a strict set of rules on how you interact with your personal faith. And as such, I would never ascribe myself to any specific religion. I think a lot of religions have a lot of good things to say, and you can draw from a lot of them to come up with your own personal belief system. But I would just say that I believe in a higher power. And I have faith that things are going to work out in the end. I think on Facebook my religion is listed as optimism, so take that as you will. I was so happy that was actually an option for Facebook. Anyway, that's all the questions from Corruptor555. I'm going to take another drink. That doesn't work with these kind of bottles. Okay. The Good Games Owner asks, have you ever played any Shin Megami Tensei games? And if you did you like them? Shin Megami Tensei is a series that I have recommended to me quite often, that I've just never played. A lot of them are on PlayStation consoles, which I don't own, so that's my excuse for not playing Persona. But I think like Devil Survivor, or Overclocked, or whatever, are on the DS or 3DS or whatever. I haven't played them. I hear that at least some of them have Pokemon-like mechanics, and that's why a lot of people recommend them to me. But for me, again, I've said this before in this Q&A session, I'm generally not a fan of turn-based RPGs or RPGs in general. Pokemon is a kind of big exception. So I'm wary to go out and seek out these games, especially when I have so many games on my Steam backlog that I should play. I'm burping on water. I have not given them a chance. I should someday give them a chance. I have not done so yet. And the Good Games Owner also asks, have you ever thought of playing online games on this channel? Not like, I don't mean like Happy Wheels, but the games you can find on Newgrounds, games that you can play in RPG Maker, or even League of Legends. Well, Leico and I did do a co-commentary over Robot Dinosaurs That Shoot Beams When They Roar, which I think was a lot of fun, but generally, not really. RPG Maker falls into the trap of I don't really care for RPGs. League of Legends, I don't know, Leico keeps trying to get me into it. I haven't really gotten into it. It seems like one of those, again, rather stressful things. I have trouble interacting with people in any medium, so internet, where people are depending on me to do well for a game, and they'll blame me for losing, which you will lose 50% of the time, not really my cup of tea. And Newgrounds, gosh, I haven't gone on Newgrounds in years. I don't know. I could do like one-off episodes of various games, but generally when I do a playthrough of a game, I want to be pretty familiar with it, or at least the series, rather than like having a showcase of the different mechanics that this guy decided to come up with for a given game. Because there's as much like cultural and social stuff behind my experience with the game as there is gameplay mechanic. So having random online games isn't quite the same experience for me. I'm not ruling out the possibility. It's just those generally aren't what I think of when I think of doing videos. If you can like point me towards a long, relatively long game that isn't Peasant's Quest, that you think would make a good option, I guess recommend it, or show me that Newgrounds Flash games aren't just simple time wasters. I don't know, it's a realm I haven't really delved into that much. Also, 78 asks, what is your opinion of Minecraft? Minecraft is a fun little time waster. You know, it's not designed to be a grand expansive narrative. It doesn't lead to anything huge other than final boss at the end after a big chain of things. I think the way to play Minecraft is to get on a community server, maybe with like your dorm, and build some cool looking things. Make a nice house and show it to other people. Because, at least for me, you know, yes, I want to make a giant elevator with redstone and just have it on my computer and not show it to anybody. That's not really my cup of tea. It's a perfectly fine game. Like, hop on there, dig some stuff, build some stuff, fun little thing to do, and kind of turn your brain off while doing it. I don't really think of it as much more than that. It's not going to change my perception of gaming. It doesn't tell an amazingly dramatic story. It's just a fun little game. And it's as its features expand and improve, it gets a little bit more fun. And that's fine. Do you plan to record all of Leaf Green versus Blue before uploading it? I have essentially almost done that. I have recorded through the Elite Four for both Leaf Green and Blue. And I'm basically debating, do I even want to bother doing the post-game of Leaf Green? Because it's just straight up not in Blue. So, why bother if the point of the game is comparison? But at the same time, there's the Elite Four rematches, and the team I've chosen will actually benefit significantly from the Leaf Green third generation expansion kind of gameplay mechanics that I should show off. Those of you familiar with my team understand what I'm kind of dancing around. There are things that I think are worth showing off. So, but yes, it'll be a little while before I upload that. I still haven't done a lot of editing for it. I haven't done a lot of commentating for it. But I do have a lot of footage for it. Oh boy. How many parts long will the Black 2 post-game be? Gosh, I don't know. I have 3 recording sessions, I think, of the Black 2 post-game. The first session lasts, 19? No, can't be. 9. Lasts 9 episodes. But it's hard to tell without actually going in, checking out where the transitions are for different areas, where are good dividing points, because raw numbers only get you so far. I can pull up the numbers, just see how much raw footage I have of the post-game, and that'll give you a certain sense. But I can't guarantee a specific number. Which frustrates me, because I kind of want to know when it's going to get done as much as you guys do. I think it's been going on a little longer than it deserves to. I'm a little sick of it. I don't know. Maybe just because I played it so long ago and I'm like, man, am I still not done with this? But it looks like the post-game, I have approximately 12 hours of post-game recorded. And compare that to approximately 20 hours of main game. So that's, what, 3/5 of the main game? So that's about 30 more episodes, right? Yeah. So I would say it'll last until about episode 80. So if I could get it to land right on 80, that would make me very happy, actually. And some of you know why. Some of you don't. But we'll see if that ends up being the case. What are your plans for Gloria in the future? I know that you already did the white solo run with it. Gloria, if you'll remember, is the shiny Goldeen that I ran into in Heart Gold, for the Heart Gold versus Crystal playthrough. And I took Gloria, put her onto Pokécheck, transported her over to White, and did my own just personal solo run on it with her. And it was pretty fun. I don't know what exactly I want to do with Gloria, actually. Because, I don't know, she's cool. I need to think of some way to utilize her that doesn't kind of give other Pokemon the shaft and not really give them their proper due, but also give her the special recognition that she deserves. And I mean, like, doing a White 2 solo with her is not on my radar, just because part of the point of the solo runs is to demonstrate the new Pokemon that are introduced in that generation. I don't know what I want to do with her, but I want to do something. And again, if you have ideas, great, let me know. Believe it or not, I'm receptive to ideas. I may seem snarky about them sometimes, and I may not like them all the time. But ideas are welcome. Those were all by also 78. Wrist Rocket Shot asks, what's your favorite Robot Master and Maverick in terms of design? Oh, I am not nearly familiar enough with Mega Man to give an objective, proper answer about this. I guess objective is a bad word. But, I mean, I haven't beaten any of the Mega Man games at all, ever. So, you said Robot Master and Maverick. I was going to say the Yellow Demon. But, gosh, most of my Mega Man experience comes from the old webcomic Bob and George. If any of you were in that realm of the internet, I don't know. But, man, Proto Man's cool, but he's not a Robot Master. Gosh. I guess I would just have to say, I don't know. Gutsman, I guess. Just because he's so iconic. Maybe it's because of that one video about his butt. But Mega Man is not something that I'm intimately familiar with, and I don't have a lot of strong opinions about it. So, unfortunately, I can't really give a passionate answer about that. Mega Man's a game that if I ever become good at video games, I will play those games and get better at them and succeed and live up to my gaming ancestors. And then I can come up with a satisfactory answer to that. But for now, let's just say Gutsman. What is your favorite soda/pop? First off, I come from a realm that calls them sodas. Sodas are soda sounds better. That's my most controversial opinion of this video, I'm sure. Soda. Generally, I like sparkling fruit juice because I'm new agey and hippie like that. So like Izzy soda, which are basically fruit juice with some sparkling water, carbonated water in them, and they're great. They're fun. They're all the fun flavors of fruit juice, but bubbly a little bit, so they're good. If we're going for high fructose corn syrup teeth rotting soda, my gateway soda was Dr. Pepper, and a lot of people call it weak piss, which it might be. But I think that's what I like about it. It's soft for soft drinks, I guess. It doesn't have a super strong flavor. It's something that you can drink, and it's not like, whoa! It's just, yeah. It's as calming as a soda can be, I guess. Maybe I'm just a wimp like that, but I've tried root beer and I'm like, that's a little too much for me. And I've tried, like, various lemon lime sodas, and it's like, that's a little too strong. So maybe I just like less flavorful things or something. Maybe I'm lame like that. And ever consider collaborating with Big Dip on a bus? Now, Jish Dip and I actually have collaborated sort of on little miniature things. He and Brenna did a little help for me on my No More Heroes finale. They did little time card transition voiced over narrations. And I did editing for one of his Big Dip's Adventure 2 episodes, in which he wanted to show off 2 different little play styles for getting through the final dungeon, I think. But we never done a co-commentary, and the way his life is, and basically his style of doing things, it's completely different from how I do things. He still abides by the talk about whatever, lots of media references kind of style of commentary, which is a perfectly valid style of commentary. It's just not really what I do anymore. And, you know, he's caught in the 90s to a certain extent, and I was barely conscious for parts of the 90s, so I don't know, I don't feel that it would end supremely well. And gosh, he's doing so many other things in his life right now. So am I, of course. It's... I would like to branch out and do co-commentaries with people, absolutely. And I've done co-commentaries with my personal circle of friends, and with Colin, and with Tom. So it's not like I'm completely foreign to the idea. It's just, I feel I'm out of touch with people. I don't know. Kyle Speaks Logic asks, are you planning on going to any conventions, such as PAX, MagFest, etc., in the future? Conventions are energetic and a lot of energy. And as you know, I'm a rather chill person. I've gone to Comic-Con actually before, and for all its energy, I did manage to have fun. Generally, it's sort of a matter of scheduling things. Like, I think PAX just barely doesn't align with when I want, when I go back to school. Like, I go back to school and then PAX in Seattle is like the week after that, and so I'll be in a different state. MagFest is, I don't freaking know where, some other part of the country, and I'm not about to fly out to another convention in another state just to see internet personalities talk about their life and their work. And I'm sure it's very interesting, and I would love to know that information, but it's not a trip that I want to make for a purpose like that. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm nowhere near the level of having anything to say for myself or doing a panel or whatever there. You need to be big guns there to even warrant doing that. And God knows I wouldn't be able to hold my own against the likes of the world. So probably not. Maybe if the planets align and my schedule works out at some point, I'll go visit one and see what it's like. But yeah. TurboTales08 has asked, which of your video series are you most proud of? I still think my original Black and White series, although there are a number of issues with it, I get a number of factional things wrong, and there are some editing goofs in there. I put a lot of effort into that series, and I'm still pretty proud of it. Like, I did a lot of... It took a lot of effort to do that. And whatever the end result was, I kind of put my heart and soul into it. So, it's still sort of a baby to me. And I wanna, if I ever have time and drive again, I wanna put effort into a series like that again, and make it as satisfactory as it was again. Maybe it's just because it's my first time doing something like that, and it's like, yeah, this is great. But like, Heart Gold vs. Crystal felt like a step back. Leaf Green vs. Blue, I don't know how that's going to turn out. And maybe it was the passion of 5th generation game, genuinely decent plot in a Pokemon game, having a lot of new Pokemon to talk about, fun things going on. Maybe it was a perfect storm, maybe I've just lost my drive. I hope it was neither of those, and I just need to get my ass in gear. I don't know. The original Black and White series, I think, is probably my best. Has there ever been a video game series you could never get into? Again, TurboTales. Well, Metal Gear, Mega Man, Earthbound. Most games from, like, that were PlayStation exclusives, that I have tried, generally didn't catch me in the same way, maybe just because I didn't have that childhood passion driving me to enjoy it. But, like, something that I didn't grow up with, often, I don't care for quite as much, although I experience new things. I get new series, I enjoy them. Portal's really good, and I didn't grow up with Portal. But, yeah, those three that I listed there are the ones that come to mind. and I could probably come up with a bunch more if you were to present me with a list of good game series. I could say, oh, I haven't played that one, I haven't played that one, I haven't played that. Assassin's Creed is another one. I haven't played it. I played a little bit of 1 and I got bored. And I realize most people say, oh, skip to 2, whatever. But that just doesn't feel right. But, like, yeah. There are a lot of series that I've never gotten into, and I probably should give a better chance. Which Pokemon game in the main series do you believe is the strongest? Oh, I can't dodge to Pokemon Snap anymore. I would... Black and White 1. I'll spit it out there. Had the strongest plot, mechanics work, little gameplay mechanics updates in Black and White 2 were much appreciated. Could use the menu system for Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but I feel like Black and White 1 basically nailed it in terms of plot, and it added a certain amount of drive to the rest of the game that I felt elevated it to a not just a typical Pokemon game level anymore. Sure, maybe it was. Maybe I'm overstating the difference that the plot made, but it was one small step for a game series, but one giant leap for the Pokemon series, and it just put it over the edge and makes it a little bit better than the rest, I would say. Noah Van Deventer asks, what is your favorite Pokemon? Which, of course, is a tyrannical and cruel thing to ask any Pokemon fan. But I think I'm going to have to go with my heart and say Mawile. Just in terms of design and simplicity, I really like it. And considering generally I don't care for the 3rd generation as much as other generations, for various controversial reasons, mostly involving water, to put a 3rd generation Pokemon as my favorite, I think, is a really strong and bold statement for me to make, if I do say so myself. I think I'm a great person. But yeah, Mawile's really cool. I really like it. It's neat. Maybe it sucks at battling, but it's cool. I Heart Movies asks, have you ever heard of / played any of the following RPGs? I'll bet no. Wild Arms, no. Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete, no. Saga Frontier 2, no. Legend of Dragoon, no. I've heard of all of those. I have not played a single gosh darn one, and I probably never will, because I'm a loser and terrible. I'm a terrible person like that. There's so many games in the world to play. There's only so much time, and RPGs take up a lot of time. Maybe someday. I've heard good things about a lot of games, but that doesn't mean I'll play them. Rob Vitt asks, 5 questions. Do you even lift? Yes, I do. Look at those muscles. They're so huge, aren't they? Gihugic. Look, so much testosterone going on in there. I am giving Arnold Schwarzenegger a run for his money, I know. But yeah, I began weightlifting this fall, as part of as a PE class, basically, but also because I knew that even runners benefit from a certain extent of weightlifting, and so it adds a certain amount of definition and musculature, and maybe I can finally get rid of this very admittedly small little patch of fat on my stomach, which I'm entirely too self-conscious about, and will probably take years of rigorous weight loss to get rid of, which I will never go through. But yes, I do lift. What is your favorite Pokemon generation? I'm not even gonna... 5th gen, whatever. Will you be doing any more redo videos on your first channel? Oh, man. I intended to finish the whole redo project over the summer 2012, and I just never got around to it. Because I'd rather move on to new projects, and... I don't know. As nice as it is to go back and see those old things, at the same time, it's like, oh god, they suck, oh goodness, oh gracious. And it's just, yeah. Probably not. I should. if I do get caught with like another copyright thing, or if I ever decide to do something more with that old channel again, I will probably need to address those. But as of right now, I don't really have the drive to do so. Yeah. If I was going to do it, I would have done it, no, gosh, 6 months ago. 7 months ago, yeah. Don't count it out, but don't count on it. Yeah. What is your favorite multiplayer game? Living in a college dorm will give you a great appreciation for Mario Kart Double Dash. Mario Kart Double Dash being the best Mario Kart, objectively, but it's just, it's competition with mushrooms and Koopas and cool things like that, and it's a lot more fun than Smash Brothers, I found. People get way too serious about Smash Brothers, because there are people who genuinely want to get good at that game. But from what I found, that culture doesn't really emerge with Mario Kart players. It's more relaxed, and it's like, oh no, I got hit by a bullet bill, and it's goofy and fun and often much less serious for them than Smash Brothers. And of course, if you're at a college dorm and there's a TV, someone is going to have an N64 and have Mario Kart 64. Maybe you'll have a Wii and Double Dash, but no dorm is complete without either of those games. But Double Dash, definitely, way to go. Do for it. Do for it. Do for it. Do for it isn't a phrase that makes grammatical sense. Go for it. Do it. What is your least favorite game you did a playthrough on that is on YouTube? See, the one game that I am probably going to do a playthrough of that I hate hasn't been made into a playthrough yet, but it will be someday. I really don't like Banjo-Tooie. I haven't uploaded it yet, I haven't played it yet, I haven't recorded it, maybe I'll never do it. But I don't like that game. But I feel an obligation to do it as a playthrough. I don't like that game at all. But as for games that I've actually uploaded, generally I don't do a series on a game that I don't like. Even games that I feel relatively neutral on, I don't dislike. Gosh, let me look at my games collection here. Shadow the Hedgehog. That game is not unplayable by any means, but it's pretty freaking bad. This is going to be a little controversial, but I enjoyed Sonic 2006 more than I enjoyed Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, yeah, it's pretty bad, and I will never complete that thing. But I put videos of it on YouTube as a playthrough, so it counts. It counts. It's a bad game. That concludes Rob Vitt's questions. Idiotico asks, how old are you? I'm 19, going on 20, as most 19-year-olds are. My birthday is in late April, for the record, so I've still got a few months left to being 19. And I've gotten mixed reactions about my age. Generally, people hear my voice and think I'm older. But then they hear my voice crack, like it seems to be doing a lot right now, because I'm not drinking enough water. And they're like, oh, you're actually super young. I'll bet you're like 15. It's like, nobody ever seems to think I'm the age I am. I think I did lose a couple years when I shaved my head and got rid of most of that hair. Now I look younger. But who knows? Everyone seems to have a different reaction. But I'm 19. That's an objective fact. And I'm going to drink more water. The Kirby fanboy asks, do you think you'll ever do any more solo runs like you did in the past? I am in the process of recording a White 2 solo run on challenge mode. I don't know if I'll actually be able to win against a certain Elite Four member, because I've had severe difficulties with all Pokemon of that type, so I don't know if I'll actually be able to beat that Elite Four member. And I'm not going to commit to uploading a solo run until I've actually recorded it and know that I can complete it, because that would be awkward. But yes, I'm working on it. I've recorded through Skyla, I believe. I think I'm in Twist Mountain right now. No, not Twist Mountain. Reversal Mountain. So it's going well. I haven't played in it in, I think, a week or so. Taking my time with it. I don't want to get burnt out. And exactly what I'm going to do with that, I'm not entirely sure. I've only been recording the gym leaders and other important battles, so I may do it as a back and forth, like, formal Black 2 versus White 2 thing, in the vein of Black and White on my old channel. Or I might just upload the greatest hits videos, and not really bother with the routes and the other things like that, because I've already done that in the blind stream, and I don't know what more I could say about Unova at this point. But I'm going to cross that bridge when I come to it. Maybe I'll get struck by some more passion, and I'll want to play through Black 2 again. It's possible. But I do intend to do a White 2 playthrough, a White 2 challenge mode, a solo run, and upload it. I'm not going to say what it is that I'm recording right now in case it ends up impossible or severely impractical. But rest assured it will arise in some form at some point. Hopefully before 6th generation comes out, which gives me about 9 months. Ursabelf asks, have you played Sonic Generations, and if so, what is your opinion on it? Sonic Generations is actually my... Oh gosh, it was 2011, so long ago. It's actually my 2011 Game of the Year. More so than Skyward Sword. I enjoyed the hell out of Sonic Generations. Replay all the stages so many times, so fun. I don't know, it's a game that doesn't get old to just blast through. Like, doing the side challenges or story mode, a little slow. The final boss sucks, but yeah. The stages themselves, especially the modern Sonic stages, are really, really good. And I just didn't get sick of playing them for months afterwards, even though they're only 18 stages, 9 settings. They're really good. They're really, 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 really good. And I'm so glad that the modding community is expanding so much and creating custom stages. I'm really glad they're not letting that potential go to waste. And I would love it. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Unleashed port, Sonic Unleashed Generations, or whatever they're calling that project, of porting the Unleashed stages to Generations for Generations gameplay. Or, you know, Sega could just release Unleashed on the PC and everything would be hunky-dory. All those man-hours would be put to waste, but we would have it official and be cool. And we could, like, give more money to Sega for making good games. Yeah, Sonic Generations is a freaking good game. If the Steam sale were still going, I would say buy it on sale, but buy it anyway, even if it's not on sale. It's good. Are you autistic? No offense, but you act like somebody on the spectrum. I'm not diagnosed with any, like, mental conditions, other than, like, sort of anxiety. My mom thinks I suffer from anxiety. But if I do have any mental conditions, I'm pretty sure they're really somewhat minor, not extreme cases of them. Or maybe everyone in the world is lying to me, and I actually have severe mental issues, and nobody's told me. But I haven't been diagnosed with anything. PK Triad asks, will you ever LP, or rather play through, another Dragon Quest game? The problem with the Dragon Quest games is they're turn-based RPGs, and generally I don't like those. I played through Dragon Quest IX up until the final boss, and realized, screw this, I'm not grinding for this mofo. And it was a game I just turned my brain off for. I didn't pay attention all that often. The Dragon Quest games aren't really, like, fantastical, amazing settings, like, heart-wrenching plots. It's a kind of very traditional medieval RPG, which is great for people who kind of want that kind of comfort food, almost, kind of feel for a game. But it's, I mean, one, it's not really my cup of tea. Two, I don't know what I could possibly say about them. I've heard Dragon Quest X doesn't really shake things up all that much, other than being an MMO. Maybe, like, some of the, I don't know. Everyone says Dragon Quest IX is the best in the series, and I thought it was boring. So, take that as you will. It wasn't my thing. And Final Fantasy is not really my thing either, just so you know. So I don't think I'm being prejudiced on the old Square versus Enix thing. That's not the case. What was your favorite solo run? I mean, I have a certain sensitivity to the original Starly run, just because it was my first. I am very proud of getting through Emerald with the Slacketh. I think that was impressive. But I don't think I can really pin a favorite solo run, other than the fact that the Lillipup solo was a part of the Black and White playthrough, which I am very proud of on a very technical level. For like which solo run I enjoyed playing through the most, I couldn't pick one. They're all pretty similar and repetitive. What is your opinion on Let's Plays compared to simple walkthroughs or playthroughs? Do you think there is a difference? I think in an ideal world there would be a difference, but the way the definitions are handled on the internet, there really isn't a difference. If I could enact my rule on the universe, walkthroughs would be instructional, playthroughs would be casual, Let's Plays would have some element of community or co-commentary to them. But that's not the case. They're basically interchangeable. Walkthroughs do have the second definition of being able to have like a text walkthrough or a strategy guide or whatever. But I think walkthroughs should aim to be helpful. A blind playthrough of a game should not label itself a walkthrough, and I've seen those. Walkthroughs should be helpful, basically. I've called my series playthroughs, but I've given up on correcting people who call them Let's Plays. It doesn't matter. They're all basically the same. Mr. Mime 121U asks, if you're snowboarding on the beach and all 4 of your wheels fall off, how many pancakes does it take to cover a doghouse? Well, honestly, pancake is not an objective rule of measure, unfortunately. You have to assume an average or a standard pancake, which I think generally is something around 10 inches. But then doghouses, again, are not of a standard, like, size. But to assume, like, a 3 foot by 5 foot, gosh, that would be somewhere in the ballpark of... I'm also really bad at math, just so you know. I don't know, 20 pancakes, something like that? I'm I'm an English major. Shut up. I don't do math anymore. Math is for dumb people with calculators. But there's a lot of ambiguity in that question, and I think defining your terms for approximately 3 pages in your abstract would be the best course of action before proceeding any further. Bobby Boy asks, why? Oh dear God, why? And unfortunately, that's a question you can only answer for yourself. Chuck Norris asks, how are you always able to find something to talk about, and why does everything you say sound profound? When I watch your videos, I feel almost like you were reading off a script. Now, depending on the video I'm recording, it can vary. But like, generally, this is something that I talk to myself about because I'm insane and talk to myself. But recording from a script and recording casually, I have 2 very, very different intonations that may not be picked up upon because usually you guys only hear the off the top of my head commentary, but if you go to my old channel and check out my Skyward Sword formal review where I am reading off a script, you can hear the intonation is rather different. Can I come up with... I'm going to pull out a strategy guide. This does not have a strategy guide. This one has a strategy guide. So just for example, here's what something sounds like with my script intonation. Base camp. Here is your home away from home when you're on a quest. The base camp provides all of the essentials for hunting, and you can get guild back up here too. Also, when you fall unconscious, you will return to the base camp for regrouping. Whereas if I'm doing something casually and off the top of my head, I'd be like, here's your home away from home when you're on a quest. The base camp provides all the essentials for hunting. You can get guild back up here too. Also, when you fall unconscious, you return to the base camp for regrouping. So generally, when I'm scripted, I have words that I choose to emphasize very specifically. And when I'm off the cuff, you can, even if I sound like I know what I'm talking about, if I'm not reading from a script, you will hear me pause, you'll hear me say you will hear me do things like that. You'll hear me stutter, start the same word twice, something like that. So even if I do know what I'm talking about, there's a certain amount of informality to my commentary, I think. And usually it's unconscious. I can, if I'm being very careful, say something and make it sound scripted or prepared, which I did with that last sentence. But generally I don't do that. That wasn't really your question at all. How I find something to talk about, generally, if I'm recording something and I feel like, oh god, I don't have anything to talk about, I will stop my recording because I'm doing post-commentary, and I will think of something to say, and then record. I may have to rewatch the footage a few times, figure out what I'm doing, or maybe I'll reconsider whether or not it's actually worth keeping that bit of footage in there. With Pokemon, especially, I can edit out a certain Pokemon battle, or given Pokemon in a battle, if there's nothing of interest there. Because generally I don't want to be like, so yeah, this is Vaporeon, we've seen Vaporeons before, it's nothing new. I want to avoid saying things like that, because I'm not saying anything interesting, you're not seeing anything interesting, and it's just wasting everybody's time. And my hard drive space. Excuse me. So, since I do post-commentary, I can think of something to say, and I can re-record saying something, if it doesn't sound good, if I flub my line a little bit. So, post-commentary lets me do a lot of things, and a lot of magic. And, like, if you're watching Black 2 Blind stream again, I run out of things to say a lot, and I stutter a lot, and I say something wrong a lot. And that's kind of why I avoid live commentary most of the time. It's because I run out of things to say. I don't know what to say. I can't do an hour and a half of stream of consciousness talking. Yeah, I can't do stuff like that all that well without guides, without text, without words to help me give me ideas. So, preparation and editing is the basic answer there. Sarah Hisaro asked, what type of setting do you enjoy the most in a fictional work? I'm pretty tired of standard fantasy setting. Like, so I got a hand-me-down Kindle recently, right? So, I downloaded a few previews of ebooks of books that some of my dorm mates have recommended that I read. And just for sake of comparison, I downloaded a preview of Uglies by someone, I don't know, Scott Westerfield, I don't know. I don't remember authors. And I downloaded In the Name of the Wind, or The Name of the Wind, or something like that. I'm terrible with names. Uglies is about kind of a Twilight Zone inspired society where people at a certain age undergo like genetic alteration, plastic surgery to make them pretty, and then they live out lap of luxury partying for the rest of their lives. Name of the Wind, they live in a standard medieval fantasy setting with spells and monsters, and it's generally not very interesting. I like things that are the standard, not standard, that are modern day with a traumatic twist or alteration or alternate history kind of thing. Like Hunger Games. I recently read Hunger Games, and I really liked those. That takes place in the United States after an apocalypse of sorts. It's not a post-apocalyptic thing, but it's after a huge political upheaval that changes everything. And the aspects of our society are very clearly recognizable in there, and that makes the differences all the more interesting. So I think and Harry Potter kind of does a similar thing, where the magic, the fantasy, what's different, isn't so different, and so the similarities make the differences all the more interesting. That's me rationalizing and probably thinking I'm smarter than I am. But, like, maybe I'm just tired of standard fantasy setting. Like, I read Tolkien. It was alright. He's a pretty good writer, I guess. But, like, it's something that we've been raised on for, God, over half a century now. And it's just, maybe it's become stale. Maybe I'm of a generation that doesn't care for it quite as much. Or maybe I am talking out of my ass, which is entirely possible. OmniWrench95 asks, what are your biggest pet peeves? No, he asks, actually, what are you biggest pet peeves? Which is one of my pet peeves, when people misspell or make typos. But I would also say, anytime somebody says, here, especially in an online conversation, I want to punch them. I'm a violent and savage person that should probably be restrained. But I don't know, I just find that particular phrase really, really frustrating. Also, the standard when people use the wrong your, or there. And also when people don't use the Oxford comma. It's there for a reason. It makes things make sense. It is there to help you. Do I need to bring out Hitler and Stalin? Because I will. Oxford commas, it's there for your own good. Is there anything you are currently looking forward to? Well, that's a vague question. I'm looking forward to seeing my friends again when I go back to college. I'm looking forward to the second part of the Hobbit trilogy. I'm looking forward to Iron Man 3, I'm looking forward to when the Wii U actually has a respectable first-party library. I'm looking forward to when I have enough money in my PayPal to buy a 3DS capture card. There are a lot of things I'm looking forward to. What is your something that you enjoy doing that may seem unusual? Alright, so bear with me here. This might seem a little weird to some of you guys. I enjoy recording footage of video games and then commentating over them and uploading the videos to YouTube, which it's weird. It's unusual. Most people that I try to explain it to just don't really... I mean, it sounds stupid when I'm explaining it to them, right? So I don't know... I don't know a good way to phrase it to make it not sound stupid, and I don't think I ever really properly communicate that to them. And even people my own age, I don't think really quite get the idea unless they've been into it for quite a while. So that's why I would say is unusual. And those are all by OmniWrench95. There's my water. Music Gamings ask, what is your favorite video game series? Pokemon is something that I've played for a long time, and it shows no sign of losing my interest. It lost my interest about a decade ago, and then caught it very quickly, once again. So, I like it. I like Zelda. I like Pokemon. I like it. Like Mario. I like Metroid. Most first-party Nintendo series, generally enjoyable. So, I don't know if I can pick any specific one. If Pokemon Snap made a sequel, then that could be my favorite series. But, not currently. What's more important, good gameplay or nice story and gorgeous graphics? I don't know, I went on recently defending Black and White as the best Pokemon games because they went the extra mile with the story. But, I mean, I think gameplay overall is what I'm into. I can play Tetris and enjoy it. I can play Bejeweled or whatever and enjoy it. And you don't need a great story for those. You can get a great story in a lot of different mediums. And I understand there are ways that a game can present a story that are totally unique to the medium, and really compelling and interesting and great. And that's fine. But it can do a lot of other things too.